Welcome to the Life Science Success Podcast. My name is Don, and typically on a weekly basis, I am interviewing guests. Actually, this week, we're going to take a little bit of a different tact, and I'm going to share with you some of the most recent updates and some of the exciting things that are actually going on with regards to life science success. And so with that, for those of you who are listening to the podcast, this actually might be a little bit of a challenging episode for you. You might want to actually go to www.lifesciencesuccess.com, and on the podcast website, you should be able to find this episode and be able to watch the video for it. In addition to just checking out any other potential show notes or links that I would have as well. And so with that, I just thought I would just take a little bit of a different tack this week, and wanted to also just make sure that for those of you who are listening to the audio only version, that you get something that is more valuable to you. You can still listen along. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just some of the things that I do show on the screen might be a little bit challenging for you to follow along with. And so with that, I wanted to give you the opportunity to follow along by going to www.lifesciencesuccess.com. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a consultant in life sciences. I help companies scale, manage complexity, and increase performance. And I have a consulting business that primarily, if you in the past had gone to the podcast website, you actually would have been redirected to this consulting webpage. Actually, what you'll find now by going to the previously mentioned www.lifesciencesuccess.com link, you actually are directed to a page that is solely meant only for the podcast. And it has a link to my consulting page as well, in case, somebody goes there and then also wants to know, more about other services that I offer. Primarily, my business focuses in on things like helping clients work through quality and process improvement, as well as program management or project management. And then lastly, technology implementation and transformation is primarily where we focus on with regards to the consulting business. And then I have this podcast that I do on Wednesdays. Typically, we try and put out an episode at 5 p.m. every Wednesday. I used to store these up. Whenever the podcast first came out, I actually would record as many in succession as I could possibly line up, any weekday as possible. As this idea of having a live show has, came more to the forefront, I've tried to just stay consistent at 5 p.m. on Wednesdays. And so the more guests that I can line up for then, the more consistent that we are. Occasionally, I'll have a guest that can't make it at 5 p.m. on Wednesday. And so what I typically try and do then is record the episode, and I'll still try and put out the pre-recorded episode at 5 p.m. on Wednesday, as well as that weekend release the audio version. And so when you used to click this link, you used to actually be brought to this consulting webpage, but you would also be brought to a page solely just for episodes. As the podcast has continued to grow, though, my wife and I have talked much more about, sort of the look and feel of the podcast website, and just needing to sort of continue to up our game for all of the listeners that are out there. And so with that, in the last 30 days, for anybody that's gone to the podcast website, actually what you would have seen is you would be brought here to the Life Science Success podcast webpage. And I like this look and feel a heck of a lot better. To be frank, each time I release a podcast, the thing that happens is that each new episode gets moved to this very top section. And so you will find the most recent episode. And so I conducted an interview with Spintellex just recently, and we talked about precision pathology using explainable AI. And so that's the title of the episode itself. You will find that all of the episodes are also broadcast. I use Libsyn as the the podcast service, and they broadcast it out to a tremendous amount of places where you can, hopefully link up and listen, but at the same time, having a web page that helps to tie the listenership together seemed like the right way to go. And so I'm really happy with this as well. I've also noticed that if I come here on my mobile phone, the one thing that happens is that at the very top, it also asks me whether or not if I want to join via the streaming service that is available on my phone. And so on my phone, it's the iPhone. And so the Apple Podcast comes up and it asks me right there if I wanted to become a subscriber, which is tremendous. Hopefully will also help us increase our consistent listenership on iTunes, as well as Google Play and others. So if you are a subscriber, the minute that I put an episode out, you will be getting a message that essentially says there's a new episode for Life Science Success. And hopefully that helps to serve the listeners even more that are following the podcast. And so with that, I just felt like the website, should also help as well. The other thing that you'll see here is that there is a player that's available right on the website. This has been something that I'd done as well, but you had to go into each individual episode. This one, the minute that you come to the Life Science Success podcast website, you'll find that there's a player at the very top here. You can click on play and it would actually begin to play through your computer. So hopefully, again, for those of you who like to watch or listen on your browser, you could come here and certainly do that as well. For each episode, there is a separate page as well. And so what you'll see here is at the very top, it talks about what the episode was about. For Spintellex. We also had guests. So Dusty Majumdar joined us again. We had Chakra Chenabolta as well as Lance Taylor, who are leaders at the company. And we spent a lot of time focusing in on, key aspects of their company and who they serve, as well as, kind of the future of Spintellex. And so this is a tremendous episode for individuals that are looking for information with regards to AI and how AI is being used inside of pathology as well. The other thing that I thought I would mention, I'll come down here to Rafael Oden's episode. So Rafael Oden is the CEO of Inkilt, and they are actually in the drug development area right now. And Rafael came in and filled out his bio. And so whenever you click into an episode, you'll see a couple different things. One, there's the player again. There are show notes. I've tried to start in the show notes to try and pull out, key points in time that you might want to listen to. And then lastly, so this is what Rafael filled out. He filled out his bio as we got ready for the episode. And so you can come in and read a little bit more about Rafael himself and kind of the career that Rafael has had in life sciences. And so, again, I just feel like this will even more serve the community that we have here at Life Science Success. If you want to subscribe to the podcast, in addition to subscribing to it on your mobile phone in iTunes or Google Play, whichever way that you typically download podcasts, you can come to the podcast website and subscribe here, and then you will get any sort of message notifications that I happen to send out of the podcast website itself. The other tremendous opportunity that there is with this website is that there's the opportunity to send me a voicemail. And so some people, in addition to the contact form at the very top, you could fill, you come here and write a normal message, just like any other, website that you go to. The tremendous opportunity that I think this offers is that you can send me a voicemail if you'd rather send me a voice message. And so whether it's comments about an episode, what you liked or didn't like about a particular episode, feel free to come in and click this button and send me just a short voicemail note with regards to things that we might be able to do in the future to serve you better. The last point that I wanted to make with regards to this contact page is that I am always looking for guests. I frequently get this question, hey, are you booked for a year? No, normally, I mean, at sort of the best times, I am booked a couple months out. So, we'll have a couple months of guests lined up, but I'm always talking to people and continually trying to encourage different life science leaders to come on the podcast and tell their story and hopefully share with you a little bit more about them and their company. And so if you're in life sciences and you are a leader in life sciences who would like to be on the podcast, feel free to send me a note. Also, if you know somebody else that you would like for me to reach out to and try and encourage to be on the show, I'm more than happy to do that as well. Frequently I'm reaching out to, a variety of life science leaders at any point in time. And, just love to have these conversations with individuals about what it is that they do. So feel free to, come here and fill out the form or leave me a voicemail. Either way, you can also provide encouragement or criticism with regards to the show. I'd be happy to receive either, and would love to receive that via written message or voicemail. Either way. The other thing that I have recently created and started tagging I on LinkedIn, they've got this weird thing where I can only reach out to about 100 people at a time. And so with somebody with such a broad network, it's going to take me quite a bit of time to get through all of my network. So I thought I would use this episode to try and get people to come here as well and just go to LinkedIn and follow the show. So I recently was encouraged by another podcaster who is in a different industry who actually did the same exact thing for their podcast. And so I created a podcast page on LinkedIn where I can put out, again, more information with regards to episodes and things that are going on with regards to the podcast itself. And so with that, the more followers that I get, the better that will sort of encourage LinkedIn to allow, more and more capabilities with regards to this. For those of you who don't know this, I currently broadcast the overall podcast under my personal LinkedIn profile. Hopefully, if I can get enough followers with regards to the show, eventually I could maybe switch that over to primarily be centered around the show as well, just for people that primarily want information with regards to the show. So if you come to the LinkedIn page, you have to put in it's a little bit of a convoluted link. I'll read it off, but then I will also provide this information in the show notes. So it is linkedin.com/company/life science success. And so that would bring you to the page for the podcast. And then all you have to do is come over here and you click follow. And so once you're following it, it'll show the check mark in the little blue oval and say that you're following that particular site. So I would appreciate as many followers as we could potentially get. As you could see, the followership is still rather low. It's about 16 followers right now. So it's still extremely small here compared to our overall listenership for the podcast. And so just thought I would share that and try and encourage as many people as possible to come to the podcast the podcast LinkedIn page and follow us there. The other thing I wanted to mention as well is that, Music Beats Cancer is going to be at Bio. And I've been asked by Mona Jahaveri, who is a tremendous friend, to just go there and record just some brief interviews as well as kind of the overall happenings at at Bio, and so I'm preparing to actually be at the Bio Music Beats Cancer reception on June 13th, the evening of June 13th. And so I will be there live and, record different elements that I will piece together into a piece that Mona and I are working on to just kind of showcase a little bit of the way that different individuals help to support life sciences and life science growth. And so, for those of you who are going to be at Bio, reach out to me or reach out to Mona. Be happy to try and get more and more people to attend this event. Music Beats Cancer is doing some tremendous work, both with musicians as well as companies that are working on the next generation drugs and devices in support of cancer treatment. And so this is a tremendous organization. I'm so blessed to have Mona as a friend, and greatly appreciate everything that she is doing currently in the industry. So with that, the Life Science Success website is up and running. Please come here and check out the episodes. Also, as you click into the different episodes, you'll notice that if there's a video recording with it, the YouTube video recording is setting there as well. And so if you'd rather watch than listen, you can do that as well. And so even with this episode, you'll be able to do the same thing. Click into the episode and you will see that I have attached the YouTube video there and tried to provide as many links and supporting information as possible. And so primarily that's what I wanted to share this week. With all of you. The podcast is growing tremendously. I've got some great guests lined up in the coming weeks and look forward to all of the interviews that are coming. Honestly, on a weekly as well as each weekend, I typically spend a little bit of time on the podcast, and just as I look forward to the weeks upcoming, again, I feel just so honored that individuals continue to contribute and want to be a part of the podcast. And also, I look forward to sharing their stories with each one of you. And so hopefully you'll continue to join me on the podcast. And I just, look forward to putting out more and more episodes. So thanks so much for joining me this week. And I look forward to seeing you soon in future episodes.